Okay. All right, I'll call the meeting to order, 3:02. We've got a quorum, myself, Tommy, and Joe. We got the minutes, motion to approve the 4/23/24 minutes. You weren't here?
I was not here.
All
I
right,
second the motion.
you first it.
First.
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have some guests here today. Appreciate you all coming, attending the meeting. I'm Chris Roth, Chairman of the Harbor Commission, so we're glad to have you here today. As guests, I know I talked to Henry Martinez specifically. Henry, if you want to step up to the microphone, identify yourself, name and address,
Max make nervous.
and share with us your thoughts.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that. Henry Martinez. I live in Waveland, and I have a slip at the marina. As you all know, we have parking issues, especially on holidays. The rest of the year, it seems that we don't have any big issues. But for instance, this is just going through something that you know already. We had 118 parking spaces and 169 slips. We added 45 slips. We still have 118 parking spaces, and X amount of those parking spaces are assigned to slip holders. I don't know how many. Sean, how many? 52. Okay, 52 of them are assigned to slip holders. And that had not increased either, because I think it wasn't thought about, or it wasn't a priority or whatever, but it has not been increased. And that really doesn't make sense, in my opinion, because now everybody, I don't know who had the idea of at another pier with 45 slips, who approved it. I imagine the mayor did. Okay. We did. All right.
So I guess my question is, why in the hell would you want more slips down there?
Because we need it. We don't have enough slips for on holidays.
You don't have enough parking for holidays, not slips.
I'm sorry, parking for holidays. You know, but what I'm saying is when the slips were added,
Let me tell you a story.
okay,
Parking was not for the harbor itself. Parking was for access to that area, to the beachfront area. Nowhere in our agreement does it say this parking is for boat owners only. Nowhere.
what mayor, excuse my ignorance,
Excuse mine too.
but how do you have a marina with no parking space allowed
I didn't
for the
build
slip
this
holders?
marina. I didn't get the money for this.
So why doesn't that have been corrected? Because I'm sure whoever made
We
it,
got a parking garage down the street. We can.
yeah, but look, that's easy to say, Mayor. Do you have a boat?
But to come in and say how stupid things are because we added on because of this and that, we have a problem down there 2 or 3 times a year.
Well, it's easy to resolve.
Memorial Day, probably 4th of July, probably Labor Day.
You got more than just a parking issue.
You know,
I'm sorry, what we'll do, we'll have one speaker, and then we'll invite anybody else that wants to
Okay,
speak up.
Mayor,
Thank
since you addressed this, I'm gonna address you directly. Whoever did it, for whatever reason, which I don't know why, was wrong. Because you go anywhere in this country where there are marinas and the slip holders have their parking spots.
and I can go to marinas in this country where you gotta park down the road a long ways to get to that.
I haven't been to one. Can you tell me one, please?
Key West. Key West got marinas.
I beg your pardon, because I had a marina in Key West, I had a marina in Key West signed for, I never went because the depression came, but where you park right there across the marina, and not only that, you could use the facilities across the other street. So the marinas that I've been to, have slips. I just came back last year from Clearwater. Those have slips. Those have assigned parking for the slips and for the restaurants in the marina itself. So this thing that, why do you need? Because, first of all, we're paying for the marina. Okay? We are paying for the marina. Without us, this discussion wouldn't be happening. Okay? It wouldn't be happening. So in other words, we're giving you our money, which you're using to build another pier. Oh, doing where the money came from?
From the state, federal.
Was it a grant?
It was, but not from harbor fees.
Huh?
Not from the harbor fees, it wasn't.
Okay, well,
Fees didn't pay for that.
okay, but we pay for the operation of the, and then the money left over, the city uses.
That's not true.
Oh, so where's the money go?
The money stays in the harbor fund.
Okay.
And just
Well, I don't get it from anybody. That's what I'm asking. Nobody's. No.
Just-
Well, I'm
just,
asking you.
let me clarify.
Okay.
Excuse me just a
City
moment.
don't use one penny of that money.
Okay. Well, then I think the harbor commission should also put some money out for the holidays to have an extra hand or somebody that from a security place or whatever to check the passes. If you don't have a pass, you don't park in the assigned area.
I don't have a problem with that.
So what is y'all's problem? Why don't y'all do it?
Not them.
We don't have a budget.
You don't have a budget. You got money in it. I've been told just right now.
That's not their problem. That's our problem.
So why don't y'all do it?
Why didn't he ask?
Well, I don't know. Why haven't you asked?
Previous harbor master,
I guess you're the fall guy. Why hadn't you asked?
you know,
You're the fall guy, Sean.
no, he
Why don't you
He's not-
ask him right
he's
now,
not-
Sean?
he's not the-
black and white.
And see if this comes through. Because I suggested last year, or year before last, why don't we do a mechanical barrier that we could get for $3,000 or $4,000 or something like that? Oh no, that was politically incorrect.
I don't know
That-
why we didn't get it, but we didn't get it.
I went to the council.
I know, I was there.
Okay, I asked for it, and that would have solved a lot of the problem that we have right now. But we didn't get it. Why we didn't get it? The harbor has the money.
Let's
This-
pause just a moment here.
Okay, I'm
We-
pausing.
We understand that there's a concern on behalf of the slip holders about the lack of parking in the facilities.
Right.
Which, as you said, occurs primarily about 4 weekends out of the year.
Correct.
So it boils down to how do we manage the exception to the process? No marina has enough, I shouldn't say any, there may be some, but for the most part, designers of marinas do not design them for the highest use weekends. They're designed for what an average usage might be, all right? We don't have enough parking spaces available if we designed it at a maximum occupancy on the highest weekend. So there has to be some flexibility, if you would. If we've got 52 parking spaces, which I thought, for some reason I had 57 in mind, but that's here to there. Is there a way we can accommodate the overflow on the weekends, on the key weekends? Now, the need to overflow, the first thing one would want to do is make sure we're properly utilizing the spaces that we have. That if you're parking in there, you have people that are parked in there are eligible to park in there.
Can
So-
I interrupt you for a second?
let me finish one point.
Okay.
So, to me, the question is, this past weekend, what was Sean, this is to you, what were the results of y'all patrolling the parking areas? And how many people had permits and how many people didn't?
Approximately 20, I've been told.
So our standard procedures on a weekend like this past weekend is, obviously everyone knows that we issue parking passes. And those parking passes are supposed to be displayed on the mirror or on the dashboard somewhere where they can easily be seen. And the problem is that I don't have the resources or the staff to dedicate one individual to sit down there and check who's coming in and who's coming out. We do that the best we can within the time that we can do it, when we're not running people to their boats, fueling 5 or 6 boats up at the fuel dock, answering other issues that may be going on at the time. So when we can, we try to check. This past weekend, Saturday was the day that was particularly an issue for us. And there was 3 people at the harbor: Paul, Derek, and myself. Dwayne has been out for a week now due to a medical issue. So on a holiday weekend like this, when you've got 4 boats at the fuel dock, having to run the POS and the fuel system inside the office, and who knows however many issues are going on at that time, I can't dedicate one person to sit down there in the golf cart and see who's coming in and out of that parking lot.
If it's a staffing issue, why wouldn't you hire somebody for that specific weekend in order to help manage the parking?
It's just not our procedures. I can't hire someone on a part-time basis unless it's approved by the mayor or city council or whatever that process is.
Okay.
That is correct.
Uh,
Nowhere along the way, if you asked for that, you could have brought somebody in for overtime to fill in for Dwayne.
You're looking at him. I did 133 hours in 2 weeks. I mean,
How many you did the 2 weeks before that? 80, 81? So I'm not going there with you.
well,
Bottom line is,
no, actually,
somebody else could have come in
who?
and filled in. I don't know. You know, call, see if someone wanted to.
There's 4 day people: me, Dwayne, Paul, Steve.
One of the night people might want to stay. Somebody might want to work over. But I'm just saying.
Well, every time I present an overtime sheet up there to the office, I get ringed about it.
By who? I sign them. Yeah.
That's right.
And
That's right, you do.
I told you something about overtime?
Yeah, a number of times.
Sean,
Yes, sir, you have.
Sean.
A number of
That's
times.
bullshit.
Okay,
Excuse my language.
okay. So, we manage it the best way we can.
All right, well, I think
And I shouldn't have to be a parking lot monitor.
well, wait a minute, hold on. You're the manager of the marina.
That's correct.
So.
And we do the best we can.
No, hold on a minute. That's doing the best you can is not a solution to a problem. All right? If but you may look at it, if everybody that hit a brick wall stopped right there and said, oh, that's it, there's a brick wall here. Got a brick wall. That doesn't work. You look, you improvise, and you overcome.
You're right.
So that's a problem that we have, and that problem, and that may not be the only solution or the best solution.
Look, I'm not
But
gonna,
it's,
I'm not gonna stand here and be the scapegoat for this. I'm not.
well,
This parking lot has been an issue for the 10 years that it has been open. And I have done everything I possibly had to fight tooth and nail to get the 52 parking spots designated for boat slips to begin with. And finally, city council said, okay, we can do that.
all right,
But that was an
That's
issue,
a part
because there
of
are
this-
members of the council and there's members of the public that don't want that parking lot for anything other than an overflow parking for the businesses.
Okay, so we got 52.
Right.
All right, now we got to look at how to manage the 52 better.
How do you want me to do it?
Well, we just gave you a suggestion.
No one has ever said that I could hire security to be in the parking lot.
I'm- th- it's not, at least it's certainly not our job to tell you how to manage the harbor,
That's right.
all right? We would anticipate
So I
that
have
you manage the resources
I have
that you
suggested,
have, and-
suggested on these busy weekends that I can add more parking spaces for the boat slip owner. And I've been told I cannot do that.
Right? That's part two. Part one is that we have to manage what we have right now,
That's correct.
what's on the ground.
Right.
So you hire somebody, the mayor says, present your overtime, then you present it to the mayor.
And that's what we'll do
If
going
the-
forward.
If the mayor turns you down, then we go to another option,
Okay,
all right?
all right.
But that's the first option there. Now, the second thing to do would be to see if we can expand the parking area on these big weekends, that we go out and we pick up 10, 15, 20 more parking spaces, all right? Only for the weekend. But in order to do that, you have to be able to police that,
That's correct.
all right? So therefore, again, you've got your one person, you got an extra person, you got them sitting there, and they're watching the parking lot. And I realize it's, it's an overhead, it's a bit of money, but we got to manage it. We can't have it not managed, and we can't shut it down, as it is now. So I think I'd encourage you just to think a little more broadly, think a little more creatively.
All right, so let me address that. That's what we did Sunday. I had Derek sit down there in the golf cart from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. doing nothing but monitoring the parking lot,
And how'd that work?
while Paul and I tried to manage the fuel dock and everything that was going on.
All right. So
Oh, the parking lot was great.
There we go.
was there room for everyone?
Yes, there was.
Anybody down there Sunday?
Have a problem on Sunday?
Is it Sunday?
What do you mean? Sunday, yeah.
Okay. Anybody have a parking problem on Sunday? That might have been there. Okay. I'm just looking.
It was very windy, so I don't think that many.
Well, I'm just looking to see how it was managed. So that's a way to do it. Now, unfortunately, I can understand.
That's how we've done it in the past,
Then
when
now-
we have the resources that we can do it.
Can I have a suggestion?
Put in the petition for the resources. All right, or go back to what Henry has suggested, and we go back to the city council and get a gate. But now, that becomes difficult when you expand it or whatever. So these things aren't going to be resolved today.
Well, I brought this up, so let me say something. As I understand it, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard there were about 20 people without the little white paper on, with the white paper on, about 20. So there we go. We got 20 people parked in there that either they don't belong there, or they were there, that were slip holders and didn't bring their pads. Okay, so that was 20. And to avoid all of this argument, that's what I'm saying. If we can just, as we are right now, monitor what we have. And Sean, there is places that you can call for, and I don't know, I know we did it for construction. Okay, where, like say, if you need, say, a carpenter, a laborer or something, you need somebody better than just a laborer or anything like that, somebody that could, you can hire him for a day or two. And then they'll charge you, or they'll charge the city, for everything included, workers' comp, all of the stuff. And I don't know, because I know it's hard to find somebody responsible enough to put there for 2 days that it's gonna be, just out of the street, out of anywhere.
Well, it may be that's an issue that could be addressed.
Right, but I'm just giving
that's-
ideas here.
yeah,
We're
that-
trying to solve the problem.
One part-time position, we can hire another part-time position if that's what it takes.
Yeah, or this,
First, again, it's usually manned down there when you go through. Dwayne's out, I don't know if that played a, part of it or
Well, I think,
I'll show you that.
right.
Or any other department.
Well, I think even during the off time, if somebody's down there without a permit at any time, there should be a notice, or some way of notifying them that they're parked where they're not supposed to be. And then so, all right,
I got one more suggestion. Why don't we put a sign out there? If you're a violator, you can be towed at your own expense. And that way this man can call the tow company and come haul off those that don't have a permit on the windshield.
okay, all right. That's something, again, that's for Sean, the mayor, to decide how they want to
Okay?
police.
I mean, Mayor, you got any problem with that? Okay, so so now we gotta,
We gotta find a way to make sure that we don't tow the wrong people.
well, if you, if,
And we gotta
we-
make sure it's also legal on our end.
if we have a sign that says violators will be towed at your own expense, and next to that, there's a sign that says you need to have whatever pass to come in, whatever. I think we have that sign already there. That shouldn't be a problem. But this guy has to be able to call, and his people to call somebody to come tow. Now, if your best friend or my best friend go over there and park without it and get towed, the mayor, you gotta tell him he was wrong.
All right,
Because if it's my best friend, I gotta tell him the same thing.
all right, we understand, Henry. All right, thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else care to speak? Be next. Please step up to the microphone, identify yourself.
Jim Menninger. I'm in slip 112. I live in Latham.
Thank you.
You mentioned that we don't have any parking guarantee. Is that what you said a minute ago?
Yeah.
That's incorrect, sir. On our contract, it says we are provided a parking.
I ain't never seen
Wait, look, I'll show it to you. You have the contract?
No, I'm not familiar with that being in the lease
Well,
you're talking
Yes,
about?
in the lease.
Yeah,
that. Never seen that. That's the first time it's ever been
Yeah.
brought up. That is the
Well,
first time that.
yeah.
Well, it's in the lease that you gave us, so,
Well, I
That's
looked,
what I'm saying, it's the first time I ever heard that was in
okay,
the
well,
lease.
it's in,
yeah, and I looked at the lease 2 days ago, I guess it was.
it's right down at the bottom of the second or third page, at the
Well,
very last paragraph.
well,
Does everybody get the parking spot?
A slip holder has a parking. Will be given a parking.
all right,
It's right there. The
But
whole
I'm looking
paragraph.
at the lease, I can't
Yeah, okay,
say
second,
you're right or wrong, so,
uh,
but we'll do that.
yeah, when I went up there this weekend, I had family in, gonna go out, no places to park, so that next thing. Well, when I left, Saturday, I went by the parking car. There were one car on the second floor and 14 empty spaces on the first floor. I went by the rental places over here on Beach Boulevard. There may be 5 cars in both huge parking. So if somebody complains about not having parking and they don't want to pay for that rental, that's their problem. We pay for our parking. So we deserve at least one spot.
So who gets left out of the spot?
Well, at any
You
one,
run the slips down there and there's about 120 parking spots.
at any one time, there's, every boat owner is not there.
90% of the time, that parking lot is never full unless it's people just going in there to park.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know, again, you got major events, Crab Fest is probably gonna be full, 4th of July
But
weekend.
that's not our problem, sir.
No, it's not.
And we are guaranteed a parking space. So that's a violation of the contract right there.
We'll look at it.
Yeah, please do. I can't believe y'all haven't seen that, because I found it.
You're the only one that's ever seen it, that ever brought this up.
Does anybody have a copy of the contract?
It states in the contract that parking is provided for boat owners who are permitted to park, which means they are issued a parking tag. It says at the bottom that there is no guarantee that parking will be available.
Right, so
That would have
So-
never been put in the, hold on just a second, Jim. It would have never been put in the parking, in the lease, that parking is guaranteed, because actually, we have 214 boat slips and 118 parking slots. So we would have never put in the contract that, in the lease, that parking is guaranteed and that you're guaranteed a spot.
No,
So
it's-
I'm not arguing with you,
No,
Jim, I'm just saying,
It does say
look-
that,
look-
but
look
it
in there.
also says first come, first served.
right, and that it
That's
is,
what it says.
that it is not guaranteed.
Why even give a permit if you
Yeah.
can't even park? You only got 118 spots, you got over 200 freaking.
Would you like to come up to the microphone, please? Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Jim.
My name's Dale Angelo. I've been slip holder for 3 years at Dock 1-8 to Mamma Mia. I'm not from Hancock County. I live in Louisiana.
It's okay.
I have
We're
relatives that
glad
live
to have
here.
you.
Just drove here.
But this has been an issue for every major holiday we've had out there. I'm a former marina owner, and I'm also a marine construction expert at that marine construction company that now it's closed down. I've shut it down. But this has been an issue ever since I've been here on the holidays. You pull in the parking lots, and half the time, almost got in a fight Friday night with a guy pulling in the marina, the designated marina slip area. No parking permit. He was going up to one of the bars. I said, man, you gotta go park on the other side. You're not supposed to be parking there. Can't you read a sign? He basically told me, excuse my French, fuck you, I ain't gotta move. I said, well, you're gonna move, 'cause I'm gonna go get the marina director right now, and you get to come out. He wound up moving out. Okay. But this goes on every major holiday, all right? That's not the only problem. The bathroom underneath the bridge, which are paid for by the slip owners, that trailer that was brought in, you got a public restroom over there by the office. You got those two there. Not only are the bar patrons using them, they're peeing, they're defecating on the floors in there, they've been on there. They had sex one night in one of the bathrooms, okay? You could walk by, you could hear banging on the walls, going to town in the bathroom.
You don't have to be too graphic.
Yeah.
This is not Donald Trump's trial.
Another thing, this past Friday night, 4 a.m., I was up, train passed by, so I went and walked my dog. There was a van in the marina slip parking area, a Mercedes-Benz, one of these travel vans, had people sleeping in it. There was a red Ford pickup truck in front of the dumpsters with a guy sleeping in it. There was also a white Chevy pickup truck parked by the seawall on the office side of the parking lot. Guy got out of the truck, he was sleeping in the truck, got out of the truck, urinated in the parking lot, got back in his truck, went back to sleep. So you got broken glass all over the seawall from bar patrons with their bottles, never gets picked up, you know. I mean, that's issues, I mean, if I was the mayor of Bay St. Louis, that would really bother me.
I'd be pissed I ain't heard about it.
You got, all the cables are hanging down from the seawall, they're supposed to keep people from climbing over the seawall that aren't fixed. I mean, you got disrepair in the marina that's been sitting there since Hurricane Ida, that's never been fixed. I mean, and the stuff I'm talking about, not a whole lot of money. I've been in business, I know what it costs to repair cameras. It doesn't cost that much to repair. John and them said they don't have the money, or the city says they're waiting for FEMA. What is with FEMA? Why can't we fix our own stuff? Why we gotta rely on the federal government to do everything for us?
$2.5 million fix.
No, that's BS. I know them handrails don't cost $2.5 million.
Part of the entire project, but it's over $2.5 million.
Y'all got safety issues all over those docks. You know, you got holes in the ground that somebody finally covered up. You got uneven concrete, trip hazards where they tried to spray it. They're at least trying to address the situation. Those kind of things don't take a lot of money to fix. I've been in marinas all over the world. A lot of them up and down the east coast of Florida, Bahamas. Some of these issues are worse than some of the little rinky-dink marinas I've been in the Bahamas. If y'all want to really keep this and make Bay St. Louis grow, something's got to be done about it. Because I'm about fed up. I'm about ready to pull my boot out. Last year alone, I spent over $25,000 in the city of Bay St. Louis, including my marina fees. Yeah. This past weekend, my credit card bill was $1,500. Restaurants and bars. Had my daughters over here, her friends. and then I gotta come back and gotta deal with a parking issue. When I've designed marinas, and I mean, come on, 52 parking spots for a 200 slip marina? That's kind of ridiculous, really. I mean, during the week, yeah, nobody's here, anybody can use the parking lot during the week. But on the weekends, at least a half of your boat, if half of your boat slip owners are here, you don't have enough parking. You know, you half of the parking amount that you need.
Yeah, that's very correct. Even before we did the addition, we were marginal, in terms of parking spaces.
One other question I wanna ask, and I might be wrong. When y'all built the marina, did y'all build a parking lot at the same time?
Yes,
Would you build a marina without a parking lot?
well, no,
Would you build a parking lot without the marina?
Yeah,
On that side of the, on that side?
any way we could find one. We're looking at down on the north side of the harbor right now.
I mean, I could find a lot of other property that'd be a lot cheaper to build a parking lot on than have to build an overpass to come over the.
Can't argue that point there. But again,
If the marina and the parking lot were built at the same time, there was a reason why they were
but
built
it's
at the
also
same.
boat paid for with boaters and sportsmen, which is access to the beach, access to the water, not just the harbor. It's access down there for everybody.
Well, I mean, there's parking all over the roadway up there that can access the beach.
Look, we got 3 times the parking spots we had before Katrina.
I mean, why don't somebody put signs out, parking garage over here, free parking?
oh, they are.
They're everywhere.
They are
We
signs.
got one on the corner.
Half the people don't even know that parking garage exists.
Nobody can see that sign.
No.
Why don't we publicize the parking garage a little bit more? I didn't even know it was there for 2 years. And then I finally saw that little bitty sign, one sign, at the end of Court Street. That's kind of ridiculous.
All right,
Yeah,
Dale,
well, I'd like to
excuse
ask
me,
just-
Tommy
so-
wants to ask you a
Sure.
question.
You reckon, I mean, you got specific things that happen. Did you document any of that? Cause I'm just hearing, I didn't know there was a parking problem this
I
weekend.
told
'cause I
Sean
don't go
about,
downtown on the
I
weekend.
told Sean about it Sunday morning when I saw him.
You take pictures.
No.
Man,
I mean, I'm
pictures are
walking
awesome.
at 4 o'clock in the morning, walking my dog. I don't have my camera with me. You know?
I don't know, everybody's got a phone. You
I
didn't have
don't
your phone?
carry my phone with. I woke up out of the dark. You know?
Yeah.
Apologize
What?
for that. No one should go through that.
Well, and I'm completely on your side. I understand everything you're saying. It just help us. A little documentation can help the city go a long way to
Let me-
fixing things. Just,
Well,
you know,
a prime example. Why don't we have at nighttime? Why don't we have a cop patrol at it? I mean, once an hour.
that's,
Your city's not that big, you know, that you can't have a cop. They're driving around, drive through the parking lot, see what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
And sleeping in there shouldn't be allowed, period.
No,
No, it's not, Neil,
not allowed anyway.
I've made notes to your comments. I mean, parking aside, that's one big issue.
Right.
But the other items that you mentioned, that's intolerable. And we need to find a solution for
And,
that as
you
well.
know, I could tell you a great solution for cleaning up all your trash and debris. You see all your bar owners right there? It's all from their patrons. Charge them a tax, an excise tax or something. This is for cleanup, you know? Your people are making a mess. Either you supply employees to come clean up the mess after the weekend, or we gonna charge you like, you know, a half a cent, a quarter cent sales tax. What's that? Well, that's politics, all right, you know, but I mean, besides, if you wanna do it the right way, that's the way to do it.
Well, there's,
They
you know,
creating a mess, they should have to clean it up.
yeah. Well, and that actually used to happen, not down there, but like the parking lots, on Main Street, behind Hancock Bank back there.
Mm.
They used to clean that up, knowing that it was their patrons.
Right, and you know, I heard somebody say, well, the city can't charge for parking, that's BS. Every major city you go to in this country, they got toll, you know,
No,
parking
that's.
meters on the side of the road, why can't you make it a paid parking lot?
Yeah,
Yeah. Make that parking lot, I'm sure every boat owner, since it's already in the contract, but I'd be willing to pay extra $25 a month for a parking permit to have my own assigned parking spot.
yeah, there's electronic ways of doing
Yeah, you
that.
can put a gate, you have a pass, you just
Well, you don't even have to go that far.
charge your credit card.
You don't even have to go that far. The way these parking lots work here, they got cameras set up.
They got apps that you can do it,
And if if you're a full-time person,
right.
then your license plate, you're allowed like 3 license plates, but only 1 parking spot.
Mhm.
And then they photograph all that, and if you're in the right place and you don't have too many, you're good. If you're not, you get a ticket.
I mean, you get every boat owner should have maybe, one parking spot that it's included in at least pay-wise, you know? You bring 2 vehicles in there, like you said, if camera, whatever, take a picture, charge it to your account, you know?
Yeah. The,
Well, We know that now, but there's not enough, but
well,
everybody's not there at the same time.
there's some dealing with, what we're not gonna resolve today is getting more parking spaces.
But this has been going on for 3 years now.
No,
so
it
evidently
had, no,
Nobody's even concerned
as,
about it.
as Sean mentioned, this has gone before the city council before.
Mm.
And the city council granted, and felt like we came away with actually a win when we got the parking spaces and being able to have them designated.
Right.
So,
So if there wouldn't have been 20 illegal cars parked in there this weekend, we
That,
wouldn't
no,
be
it still
sitting
wouldn't have been
today.
parked in the park, cause there was, the other lot, they had people, I know 4 or 5 people had to park, they were up past St. Stanislaus on the highway. Another problem was, is they were blocking the entrances to the gates, to the piers. People couldn't even get to where they could drop off stuff, because people were just parking wherever, they were parking on the sidewalks, they were parking on the islands, they were parking everywhere. They could find a small enough spot to pull a vehicle, a golf cart, anything, they will park. But if there's no
You got somebody for you.
legal reason to stop them from doing it, they're gonna keep doing it.
well,
Yeah.
that's, if it's unenforced, if you don't
If you don't
enforce it.
enforce it,
No. And then once you enforce it, word gets out, don't do that,
Right.
because the city, you'll get a ticket or
and
tow.
a $25 parking ticket, it's cheaper to get the ticket than go pay $30 to park in one of the lots over there that they were charging this week, you know?
All right, well made, well said. Thank you for your
Thank
comments.
you,
I
Jeff. We got
appreciate it.
the other guy first.
Well, I think anybody
Yeah,
else have
somebody
a-
else first. You, wait your turn, Henry. Mr. Ward.
Didn't know it was somebody else.
Well, apparently it.
There you go.
You wanna get up?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Jeff Ward. I have 2 slips at the marina, although I have 5 boats in the shipyard, not at the marina. I have 1 boat in the ship, in it.
You have a mental health advisor? You got that many slips
You
and boats?
sound like my dad.
I'm just kidding.
Dad asked me how many boats I had. I didn't really want to tell him. I only have 5 in a boat yard, though. I had a couple thoughts. One of the things that made the marina much worse is when Premium Parking took over all those parking lots on the south side of the railroad tracks. People don't want to pay there, so now I don't know about recently, but I've heard that part of that parking is like the workers and stuff for the hotel, for the restaurants, park there because it's convenient, it's cheap, and it's right there. But one thing you do need to consider for the boat owners is that I don't remember the last time I came to one of the boats where I didn't have to bring stuff, clothes, clothes, supplies, drinks, all kinds of stuff with you. And so that becomes another problem, parking further away. It's already, for many people, having to go down those piers, it's one thing, but trying to park, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks away is much harder with a carload
Sure.
of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that does make a boat owner a little differently than, let's say, a waitress that's working at Blind Tiger. I heard that was one of the
Yeah.
problems that in the past was that they were complaining about that. But I know personally, I wouldn't mind paying more if I knew that I had a spot, although I haven't had a lot of problems. Specifically would be like cruising the coast. It's one of the big ones. I had my boat. I bought a new boat that I had here for that. It's in the shipyard now. But another thought I had that might work, but you'd have to think about this, is that if it was paid parking, like I know at Premium Parking where I go when I go downtown, I have the app. You just put the app in. Your phone, my phone's registered. My cars are registered on the app. But if the people had to pay, now that all that other parking is pay, people go to the marina because it's free, and so it's really a magnet for people to come. Whereas if it was, but I understand one of the problems is that y'all have events where you don't want to, where you want to keep the marina for yourself. But it seems to me you should be able to work out with whoever if you use Premium, and Premium's a real pain I got charged one time for 6 minutes because they have season tickets at the Sanger. I was 6 minutes late. They charged me $100. It would cost, I can get 6 hours for $26. They charged me $100. I hate premium parking, to be honest with you. But if you want to park, they're the big people in it. But if you had that, if I had guests over, I'd much rather pay for their cars than to have to worry about them not being able to park. Because if you have the boat and you have people coming over, which you do, they need a place to stay. And I think that would help solve it. It would still give everybody the ability to have parking. It just means you have to pay for it. But also the city themselves would be getting money, some revenue from it, but it would also help control the problem. So I guess what I'm saying is if I do, and I do have some passes, by the way, because of my slips, but I should pay for those. If my rent has to go up, it has to go up. But my point is I'd be paying for that to y'all. But if I had a guest, it'd be a spot to go. You could also, when you made your deal, I know y'all are doing some events that you want to have the whole thing. I know you had some weddings over there and some other things, but if you have events where you don't want it, when you make your deal, you say that, look, we have a number of events per year, and when we have these events, we want the whole parking, you can't have the parking lots for those days. Other parking people do that same thing. So you could consider something like that. So it would always be a paid parking lot. You'd give out this, and you'd work out in your slip prices. You'd work out what deal you want to make with the boat owners themselves, and then, but then anybody who parked would be paying. And like I said, the problem got much, much, much worse when all those lots on the south side are now premium parking. Because I had trouble one time. I went to park my Mercedes bus there, but they wanted to know what it was, and I kept saying it's a Mercedes, and it said no. And I said, well, then it's a Pleasureway, and it said no. So I didn't get to park there because I had a trailer with me, and I couldn't park. The place was completely empty, but the app wouldn't let me do it. And then when I finally called them the next day, they said, well, just don't put anything. And it didn't say I could not put anything. It said I had to put an answer, and it kept turning me away. Yeah. But anyway, that might help solve the issue. The other thought that I had at one point was that if you divided the parking lot into 3 areas, we have the area, I'm going to call the number 1 area where we are now, which is on the south side, on the marina side. That's 1. 2 would be on the outside of that gate, going to the harbor masters. And 3 would be that other area that's between you'd have 3 areas. And if you did it not with the paid thing, but if you said, okay, Sean, you have this area, right now we pretty much always have that south east side. But if he needed more, then he could say, okay, we're gonna go halfway in that other parking lot 2, and we're gonna rope it off because we know we need it. And then the public could have the 3 and half of that, or you say I need 1 and 2 for the marina, because you see we did that for Cruising the Coast, where you gave parking lot 3 to the cruisers, and then you kept 1 and 2, what I'm calling 1 and 2, to the boat owners is what you did, and but you could do something like that too. Sean knows, I'm pretty sure, what goes on because he's the one who's actually. When transient boats are coming in, because a lot of boats aren't in there that have slips, or that so he knows how busy the marina is going to be pretty much in advance. I mean, I would think a little bit in advance. He has a pretty decent feel for it, and he could, take over that other parking lot, not take over the parking lot, take half of that other parking lot. That might be another issue. I don't know. And I only had a little while to think about this, to be honest with you, but I may come up with some other ideas, but that may be something that would work.
Well, those are good suggestions, and that falls into us having the flexibility to expand parking as demand and then restrict it, or fall back to our normal mode and do that. And
you just block, what you're doing right now is you're blocking what I'm calling parking lot 1 for the boat. But if you know you have a busy weekend, and just say I'm taking 2 also, and then you're still letting the people, but as long as you have it where it's free. Now, I know there are I've never been in the other parking lots, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a big 2 or 3 story parking lot
Yeah.
down the
On
block.
Port
and
Street.
I've never been there, but as a boat owner, I've always wanted to be close to the boat, to be honest with you. But the as long as it's free and it's close, people are going to come parking there, and you're not gonna, it can be very hard to stop them. Like I said, you could put somebody out there all day, but they might not even need to do that if you just block that part of the parking lot just like you're doing, and then you still have to monitor it some. But I don't know that, Sean, have you been having a lot of trouble with that area that is blocked? Are you having a lot of trouble with people going in there? You are?
That's what we're discussing.
So you need to I'm talking about the one that's made strictly for the, in that area. And you may have to have an additional person.
Yeah, that's
on
what we're
those
talking
days,
about.
and
Putting
that-
somebody on staff or coming up with a gate or something, or some electronic method of allowing people in, but that's.
Hey, for the few days we're talking about, it sounds to me like just having a person, I mean, I'm sure if you were to let people know, there may be many retired people, there's a lot of people that want something to do, especially older retired people that, I gotta be careful saying that, I'm 70. My dad's 96 and he still works every day. He worked Monday. I called him, he was gonna go see him Monday, and he said, oh, I'm at work.
Yeah, I would, I'd like to think we could fill it. There's people within the city, I'm sure, so I shouldn't say I'm sure, but,
Well, I think
you
if
offer
you-
that opportunity to a city employee to get overtime to come work that, but that, the mayor and Sean can figure that out.
Or even outside people that are willing to come do it. There's a lot
Well,
of
they
people
are,
that
yeah.
might be
It would
happy
be nice to
do
fill it
Once
internally.
you know that you have
Yeah.
a need, I think you'll be able to find people that would
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But that might, because then you're gonna have to monitor the gate, people running into the gate. We have that now, so I'm in a gated subdivision, and people constantly are running into the damn thing.
Yeah.
And breaking the gates and jamming the gates, and that's a whole nother set of
Yeah,
problems.
there's exceptions. Thank you very much for your comment, so. All right, some of the, go ahead,
Well,
Henry.
Henry wants to go again.
On the safety side, I think we need to put ladders, every so many ladders on the piers to avoid what happened to Harry. Harry fell down and we couldn't find, or I wasn't there, but it was very hard to get him up. There was no way to get from the water to the pier unless you go through your boat. So if you don't have the strength to get onto the swim platform, or you have a dinghy on the swim platform, you cannot get out of the water.
We have ladders, don't we, Sean?
Not every so
How
often
tall
on the
are they
piers.
spaced?
We have one coming in, and then like on Pier 2, I don't think we have another one. At least I go all the way to where you were, and there's not a ladder coming down in either side. And I imagine most of the piers are like that.
All right, thank you.
So part of the issue is when it comes to those ladders, the handrails, and some other miscellaneous things. I think Dale mentioned a few things. That's all part of the damage that was done at Hurricane Zeta. Actually, Zeta, not Ida. We're talking 3.5 years ago.
Mhm.
And again, all of these repairs are part of our scope of work that has been submitted to FEMA. We actually got approval from FEMA. Those went out to bid. The bid came back way more expensive. I think we've all discussed this at length in these meetings. That bid package came back from the contractor way more expensive than we thought it would, and quite a bit more than what FEMA was allowing.
Mhm.
So we couldn't proceed with those repairs. Otherwise, we were going to be out of those funds. And we're talking significant amount of money. So those have been kicked back to FEMA, and we're still waiting on FEMA to tell us, here's your money. We will cover those repairs at that cost.
Yeah, let me
So
just clarify.
That's where all of these
Yeah, let me
safety
fi-
issues and repairs are.
Just interrupt
in.
you for a second here. You can keep the microphone. FEMA's a reimbursement. You have to spend it to get it. And then it takes a year, 2 years, sometimes to get your money from FEMA. So there's, as the mayor said, there's over $2 million that we're trying to look to how to fund this in order to make these repairs while we wait on FEMA. We have a loan, and we pay interest on this loan in anticipation of this FEMA having been cleared a year ago. We thought we were close, borrowed the money over a year ago, and then we kept hitting roadblocks with FEMA. So we're in a negative cash flow, if you would, in terms of being able to do some of these things that, Dale, that you mentioned, that really are necessary to do. I think we need to take a closer look at some of these items and look to find a way to repair the safety hazard issues that we have. That's my opinion, okay?
You know, liability wise, if somebody gets hurt out there and these things have been going on for as long as they've been going on, a good attorney is gonna eat this city up.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the hazards of that. As I say, from our standpoint, ours as a Harbor Commission, me individually, we've got a great marina, and unfortunately, due to storms, government reimbursements, funding, federal funds, we've got a subsidence issue out there that's causing these settlement issues. We're having to address that. It's become almost a catch-22 in order to establish what our damages are. We have to be able to prove what has happened, what caused it. And to really do that, you've got to do some destructive testing and start pulling things apart in order to do that. Well, if you start pulling apart, you've got to have the money to put them back. And I'm sharing this with you not to diminish any of the issues that you raised, the parking, the safety issues. All of those are we talk about them once a month in trying to manage this Rubik's Cube and to be able to address what we need to be addressing. Some of these, there's people sleeping in the parking lots, lack of patrolling in the harbor, you know, that's, to me, that's pretty fixable way to address it. That shouldn't be happening. Restrooms, they ought to be clean. Somebody ought to be inspecting them. I mean, those are business management things that you just do in the course of business. You don't need to have a crisis happen in order to address some of these things. And I think, again, as a commission, we encourage the city administration, Sean, to look at this, get in there and do the things that don't require a lot of money for sure, that just take some attention, some focus, and some initiative and get those things resolved. So,
If you don't mind, I do want to address a couple of things.
go right ahead.
There are some issues that have come up. Dale's mentioned some other folks as far as the restrooms, people sleeping in the parking lot, and those sort of things. We have 24/7 staff there. And our night guys patrol the parking lots. They make their rounds on the docks. They do all of those sort of things. They clean the restrooms at night. We clean them during the day. But I went in the restroom 3 times up there at my office and clean on Saturday. 15 minutes later, I mean, you can't stop someone from going in the restroom and making a mess. I can't control, I can't check the restroom every 10 minutes on the south end to make sure. So those things are being done. I don't want there to be any misconception with anyone that we're not doing the things down there that we should be doing. But on a Saturday, like this past Saturday, when all of those restaurants are full and those people are coming down the seawall to use the restroom, every 10 minutes there's probably a mess in there. I went through 48 rolls of toilet paper in 2 days down there because of it. I mean, so the issue with the person sleeping in the parking lot, that was brought to my attention the next morning by Darren, who, when I go in the morning at 6 a.m., Darren and I spend 30 minutes going over what took place during the night. So I'm aware of all of those things. We've had issues when we've called PD. PD may show up an hour later, 2 hours later. They may come down in 10 minutes. We don't know. The parking lot at the harbor is not first on PD's mind on a Memorial weekend. So they get to us when they can. And I'm not knocking PD. They're doing a great job. But we may be a little lower down on the parking, on the pecking order when it comes to someone parked on the sidewalk on Memorial Day weekend in the harbor. There's plenty of other things they're focused on, and I can't blame them. So it's not as simple as it may seem to everyone. And there's a lot of moving parts and working pieces here that when they all come together, they work great. But I can assure you, things are being done the correct way in the harbor. And we're doing our best down there to monitor and make sure that all of these things are taken care of. I can promise you that. But when it comes to certain issues, I've been told this is the way we're doing, and that's what we're doing. And that's the way we're doing them, particularly when it comes to the parking lot. Okay.
Well, that's a good question. It was one I had. Wasn't that intended for the harbor patrons? Slip holders, that's what I mean. Thank you for the slip holders. Code.
Every marina I've ever been to, you got bathrooms strictly for the slip holders, and you got a code.
The 4-digit code, okay.
Combination lock, punch a code in, you go in, take your shower, get dressed, 'cause a lot of people don't have facilities on their boats.
And I don't think it's incumbent upon Sean's crew to be down that south restroom cleaning every 30 minutes or hour, 2 hours.
Especially when it's not the patrons of the marina that are dirty, you know?
Can I put locks on those doors, Mr. Mayor? Okay. Well, I was told when the trailer predates my tenure, so I don't know what the intended purpose was for that, other than it makes perfectly sense that it was for the boat owners.
Laundry don't work? Well, I don't know if it works or not, 'cause we don't have access to it.
Yes, you do. I sent out an email 3 months ago saying that the washer and dryers are there. The door I'm keeping locked so it's not used by the vagrants and everybody else. And if you need access to the laundry room, call us. We'll come immediately down there and open the door.
If we put combination locks on, we wouldn't have to bother you guys with that.
That's right. But the problem with that, part of the problem with that is that trailer down there is, in my opinion, a horse trailer on wheels. And it's not what we needed when it was ordered. And so the 2 times that we've had to move that trailer due to storms, it is now out of level and we can't get it level. So the doors don't close correctly. So I'm relying on boat owners to make sure they shut the doors when they leave so that it is locked. We've tried 4 or 5 times. The city crew came down there the last time we moved that trailer out. You level one corner, it throws the other one off. You level this one, it throws that one off. You level the 2 in the back, it throws those off. And it just, the structural strength of the trailer has become a problem to where it's just not holding square.
I mean, that's easily fixable.
I mean,
I mean, you could put some beams underneath it, set it on some steel beams, and you would never have that issue.
Well, we had the trailer manufacturer actually come down, and if you look at the outside of the trailer, where those panels are, those rivets that are in there, we had the manufacturer come back and redo those because 2 months afterwards, all the things were pulling apart and insulation was showing. And I mean, again, this predates the mayor and I actually. And so, you know, I can't speak to the trailer other than I think the intent was for it to be the boat owners' facilities. And we had the discussion when the trailer first showed up, can we put keypad locks on it? Can we not put keypad locks on it? I think there was some discussion about whether we could or couldn't. I don't think it was ever.
You put a lock on the gate going into it, the way you gotta have access code to that gate to get into it.
Well, I'd have to.
Lock each individual door up there.
Well, but then, Mayor, you're gonna have these drunks crawling over the rails, crawling over the gates. If we had combo locks on the doors like the one every marina I've ever been to has, or the slip holders are issued a fob, and you can go up and it'll unlock the door. One of those options, I think, personally would be better. But if the thing is constructed so
Well, it's not that the doors aren't working correctly. It's that the things up, I don't know what you call them up the top, the little hydraulic things at the top. When you go out, it automatically closes. We've got those on the strongest setting we've got, can have them on now, and they still don't close automatically. So in order for those locks to be effective, people need to be aware that they need to push the door closed. Yes. Yes. I'd love to do it. So. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's a solution, either a hasp and a padlock, or put a gate out front, do something, but take a look at it and figure out what you can do. There's a way to lock it.
You know, can I say something?
Please. You've been awfully quiet for an hour now, Joe.
And I've been in that marina from day one. I've probably had 10 boats in there, and I've been around here for 10 years or so in this city, and I've watched the city grow, and all these problems that go with growth, and probably. I think all of us would really need to take and get together with all these problems and talk about them and try and work them out, because they do have a problem with the parking and that. And, you know, from day one, the marina, it could accommodate the people that came out because we never had a whole bunch of boats in there. But now we stacked the capacity in there, and something has to be done to change it. You know, Henry said in the very beginning, why don't we put a gate on the thing? I don't know what the problem is with, you know, how it's written up, if you go before the city council or whatever, in order to get the approval for all these changes. But we got a lot of changes that have taken place over the past 10 years that I've seen since I've been living here in this city. You know, with hotel, the restaurants, everybody's growing, and which is great because it brings in a good tax basis for the city to do the things we have to do. But they do have some problems, you know, with not Sean's problem. I mean, he's doing a great job, you know, and I've seen the other harbor master we have, and Sean's head over heels, much better than the other guy we had, you know, is trying to be accommodating and working out things. But we just need to get a list of stuff and address them and try and work them out. I think this would be the best thing, because we could probably stay here for the next 2 days. Talking about the problems we have. But it is. It is.
It's funny keep growing. I mean, I'm looking to purchase a home over here right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see the marina succeed. Like you said, I think Sean's trying to do a great job.
Everybody is. But he's limited on his staff, you know, and if you have to hire somebody, it's like the mayor said, you got to go through them to get approval for it and everything. So it's not that easy. I mean, all of us here probably had a business of some type. Henry's been in business. I've been in business.
For the record, because you know this needs to be part of the public record, then I think there's this misconception out there that the funding regarding the harbor.
Yeah.
We are a totally self-sufficient entity. We get no funds from the city. The city gets no funds from us, other than sales tax. So that money does stay. You know, at the end of the year when we make a profit, which we do,
Yeah.
that money stays in the harbor funds. There's 2 of them. We shift them back and forth for capital maintenance, or the other is basically a savings account. And so I know you guys know I try to manage that facility down there to the best of my ability with that in mind. That is, to me, my personal small business. So I do have to be conscious of where the money is going and how it is spent and the things that we do, especially when we've got a long-term plan that requires regular maintenance and things like that that is not funded by any other source other than the harbor funds. Yes, we do rely on government funding and any sources like that that we can to do larger expansion type projects. But, you know, everybody needs to understand the harbor is self-funded, and it's done so by people paying slip leases, fuel, transient boats, and things like that. So we certainly want to be careful with the resources that we have with these folks and the folks that are coming to the harbor and buying fuel. And I think it's important for us to recognize that, because it is individuals like you that keeps that harbor what it is. So it's greatly appreciated, and I try to do my best to manage those resources and what we do down there with that in mind. So as far as I'm concerned, my responsibility are to the people coming to the harbor in whatever form they're coming, whether it's just to purchase fuel, lease a slip for a year, or for a weekend. Those are my customers. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that those folks are taken care of. It's not to the restaurant owners. It's not to, you know, anyone else. I want anybody and everybody to come to the harbor. It doesn't matter to me. And I want them to come and enjoy themselves. But my first responsibility, from my standpoint, my opinion, is everything over the water. Not the parking lot, except for the 52 down there that's supposed to be. I mean, you know, we do our best to manage the parking lot, and we do our best to work within the parameters that's been set for us. But, you know, it's hard for me to stand here and listen to criticism when I know we're doing an excellent job down there. And there may be ways that we can do some things better. That's what this commission is for. That's what consulting with the mayor and city council is about, boat owners, whoever's coming. So we take all those opinions into account. But there's also a parameter. We have to stay within those.
Again?
Okay, gentlemen, we've been talking for over an hour
Thank you.
about,
Wait, Henry, before y'all leave, I got just a quick question, just out of my head. The whole thing that happened this weekend, if we'd have had one guy down there 24/7 with a security vest on that was standing there when people drove in, would that have fixed the problem?
Yes, sir. And if we could, a priority, Sean, we could get that, what Henry said about, we've got the slip over parking. If you park here without a permit, you will be towed at your expense. And that enforced.
And say that there's free parking, there's
Mayor, if you could get the signs.
mostly unused garage.
Thank you.
that's one thing that I wanted to ask. We've been talking about,
Exactly.
You can't let everybody park there and then say, well, you can't do it. In other words, right now, the problem is, and it is a problem, during the week, the thing's wide open, everybody comes in, used to parking there. So just because it's the weekend, hey, where can I go park? I'm gonna go park there. So it fill up. If he has the ability to block, just like he has that
Yeah, it's a restaurant, but anyway,
Mhm.
yeah, rags to riches. Yeah.
I don't.
All right, thank
Thank you.
you. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, we've been talking about all of these solutions, and do we hear anything in particular that you all taking and say, we are going with this? Does it have to go to a vote? What, because we had the same conversation 2 years ago, and nothing happened. What of all of these suggestions do you feel that you can make it go? Which I think, nothing against you, Jeff, but the simple solution would be a gate. That way, we know that the people coming in and out of there are the ones that are supposed to be there. And then if that 52 spaces become something that is not proper, then we'd handle that when we get there. But we're trying to handle expansion, we're trying to handle this, and we don't have that, handle the problem right now. With those 20 spaces available to us Saturday and over the weekend on things like this, there would be no problem. If we want to determine exactly before we put the gate up, then hire somebody to deal with that during the major holidays, and then we'll be able to tell. And if the gate is there and 2 years down the road, we got to move it, so be it. We got to move it, but we got to service out of it for 2 years and expand it later. But right now, we're not making any decisions. All we're doing is talking. All I did 2 years ago was talk. Nobody pushed for anything. And what I'm trying to ask you all is to push for something. To go to the city and say, we recommend this, and have it in your heart to push for it. Not just come in and, okay, we recommend this, and the mayor says no, and don't argue with the mayor. And I don't know if you'll do or not, but I will certainly, you know, if I was in your position. So, do I hear anything from anybody?
Not yet.
Huh?
Not yet, really, because that's part of the meeting we're in. We gotta wait till new business.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know. I don't have that. You see, all I got is what I wrote.
No, Henry, there's, unfortunately, there's multiple phases in this, and when you engage, be it the administration, you engage the city council, you have to have your ducks in order. You have to have a clear plan. You have to have your facts in front of you, and you've got to have a solid recommendation to do it.
I understand that.
That's nothing we can do today. But the purpose, you know, you don't think we've been asking for things, and things have been turned down. So it's a matter of repositioning this again and reapproaching the city council as to what we think is the solution is. And to go with the solution to it, we've got to know if we're not patrolling, are we going to patrol?
Well, I think
I
that's
can't
the
go-
first thing to do.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but we can't say that. The mayor and Sean are the people that have to decide what we're gonna do about that.
Well, we can't advise it, and we will.
Okay. I think you need to advise and convince some people that it should be. I don't know who, or whoever it takes. Because it cannot go on like this. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And like I said, we want to be the best in the coast, and for who? For the boat owners?
Yeah.
And the thing is, nobody represents the bone owners, so I was hoping y'all would.
Well, I don't know that that's a fair statement.
All right.
Well, when I mean represent the bone owners, I mean really, and I understand your point. You have to have some factual and concrete stuff. Because, for instance, the next thing, if you go to the city council and the mayor right now, which the mayor's here, but if you take it to the city council, well, that just happened in Memorial Day. What happened in the 4th of July? Well, we're not there yet. So probably we need to wait until the 4th of July.
No. We need to do something before the 4th of July.
No. Monitor. But when you go, because I think the permanent answer, so these guys can go on with their business, is to have a mechanical barrier. But then, in order to sell it to the city council, we have to prove that this many people are in there that are not supposed to be. And that's what the monitoring would give us. We stop the people from coming in there.
I will commit to you right here, right now, at 4:20 today, you will not have this issue July 4th.
Thank you. You know.
There you go.
But Sean, the thing is, we need to, even if we don't have the issue, for instance, we need to monitor.
There needs to be a long-term solution, but what I'm telling you.
If so,
right this minute
so
is
if you monitor,
from now going forward, that's for July
right.
4th weekend, Labor Day, if we haven't come to a long-term solution to this, I'm guaranteeing you and the others that you will not have this issue with those 52 parking places.
Right, and that's all I'm concerned with right
Gotta
now.
start somewhere.
That's all I'm concerned with. But if we monitor those, and we have sufficient spots for the slip owners, then the easiest thing for everybody's concerned, for you, him, us, put the gate on.
All right, Henry, I appreciate your comments.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to move on.
Okay,
So
Don't
thank
forget
you
the
very much
stairs,
for
the steps.
For your
Yeah,
thoughts.
move on without me.
I do want to say thank you guys for coming. I've been on the commission for 3 years. This is the first time we've had slip holders come and just comment. So it helps us know what's going on. So thank you.
For sure. No, you're welcome to stay.
You're never in my way, Henry.
You can stay.
Thank y'all for coming.
All right, we'll move on now to the, believe it or not, a harbor master report.
Hey, I got my papers
There
all
hasn't
out.
been enough of that already.
I got my papers all out of order, so you're gonna have to show us what we're looking at, because I was taking notes.
Yeah, this, I hate to burst any bubbles, but this is gonna be real quick,
Oh, good.
Well, we empathize with you.
right? All right, let's start with the GL report.
Which one's that?
The complicated city printed
That one there.
450
All right,
report.
450.
Yeah. All right, so current period, and again, this is, through April 30th, so it's not accounting for anything in May. A little over $100,000. That means we're at 53.5% of our budget, which is where we need to be this time of year, coming into busy season. I don't anticipate there being any issues with us, making our overall budget coming towards at the end of the year. We did have, you can see our expenditures there underneath that number in current period, 61. We did have that transfer of 77, which went to the debt service on the loan. So that gave us a total of 138, which makes us look like we're in the hole, which I guess technically we are. When you factor in that, but of course, that's a one-time thing. But we all know where we stand, financially at this point. With that, really no other, major things stick out here, with the exception of fuel cells for last month. We're improving on those. I can tell you fuel cells wise, for what I consider the 5-day weekend, which was Thursday through Monday, we did, I think, close to 35,000 over the course of those 5 days. Sunday, the wind hurt us a little bit. Weren't quite as busy on Sunday as I was thinking and hoping that we would be, but that wind was just whipping. So I think that slowed us down a little bit there. Really nothing else stands out. You know, y'all can certainly look through the GL. I'm not going to focus a whole lot more on it at this point. If y'all have any specific questions, by all means, let me know. Of course, you can also, you know, look at them a little further in depth. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, and we'll do our best to get you squared away and answered. All right, so let's take a look at the harbor sales, which is that one-page spreadsheet, which should be next in line, I believe. All right, so what we've got there is for the month of April 2024. It's the first column down on the bottom set of on the graph. We did a little bit over $1,000 in transient business, diesel 6,100, gas almost 29,000 for a total of 35,000 there, and ice sales are coming up as well. You got any questions on that one? Okay. Our occupancy report, the slips. So we're back at about 92% right now. That's 65-foot slips, 94. 60-foot slips, I've got one open right now. That's at 89%, 100% on the 50-foot slips. Got one available, 45. The 40-foot slips, still 89% on those. 95%, 35s, and 93 of the 25s. And I do have 2 end caps that are open. One is spoken for. The other, I'm leasing it out to transient slips and making money on it that way. Any questions there, fellas? All right. The GL the aging report. We've got some improvement on this report. Thank goodness. We had a couple of folks that were severely in the red with us to the tune of like 4 or 5 months. We've managed to collect those. One of them was the one that we had chained up there out there on dock 4. They finally showed up, took care of their bill, and took the boat out of the harbor. So we're leasing that to someone else now. Yeah, thanks, Julie. Appreciate it. But there's a couple on here that, you know, are still a little outstanding. One has paid, that was at 3 months. And then the other gentleman at 4 months, Julie's on him. So that should be taken care of soon. But aging report looks better than it did the last time, which...
If I could, the fellow that owes us the $2,000, 5 months past due, really. What are we doing to him? Other than, have we changed his boat up? What are we gonna do about him?
Yes, we have.
With his boat?
We've sent him all the notices, chained,
Okay.
all that good stuff. I know. That's Mr. Rendell. You've actually talked to him, haven't you?
I have tried to call him. You get an answer. You get a voicemail.
Yeah.
2 numbers on there. One of them says not set up to get messages, and the other one says that his mailbox is full.
Right. Yeah.
I send him emails. I get no response.
That's the same thing that I got when I called the number as well. And so we send out the you know, the certified letters and all that good stuff. And
He's one of the few that
yeah.
likes to pay every 4 or 5 months.
Right.
He'll pay it off by next month. I'm trying to break him out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Can we go ahead and charge him 4 extra months ahead of time?
Because I take it personal when you don't pay your rent on time.
Yeah, and that's what we've told people. They've asked that question. Well, I like to, okay, well, fine, pay this and then pay another for the 6 months coming. That way you'll have a credit. You won't have to worry about it.
There you go.
So, but, yeah, Julie stays on it. Operational report, 104,788 taken in, 57,000's going out. Again, this is this month. So that kind of gives you a snapshot where we are for the month of May. Without that,
That report does not include this last weekend.
right. Yeah, that doesn't include this weekend. So
Yeah,
you can,
23rd.
you can add about another 35,000 to that. You can see what's in the harbor fund, capital maintenance fund down there at the bottom. We need more money. All right, gentlemen, y'all have any questions that I can answer for you?
I just, while we're on the financials, we would tap 77,000 for interest payments, and I still don't have a handle on how these funds get dispersed. Our debt service calls for 5 interest payments and principal payments, as I understand it, of a total of $413,280 that was due in July of 2023. We have another 402,000 due on July 28th, 24. So we've got a considerable debt service, and this was all to be reimbursed by FEMA when this loan was made before everything got delayed with FEMA. So we have from an operational point of view, other than debt service, we cover our debt, cover our expenses. But when you put in the debt service, the city's having to front the debt service. We don't have the money to do it. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. I did get that information from Mike on the $1.8 million loan that we have. And the city now, as you heard the mayor say, we've got a couple of million in repairs. We're looking at getting $500,000 from Tidelands, and the city's administration is trying to find other sources for money in order to do as much of these repairs as we can. But right now, the only thing we know, at least when I talked to the mayor earlier this month, was that we had $500,000 in Tidelands funds. And that has to be clarified by the legislature as to how much of that you can use for repairs, because it's supposed to be enhancements of facilities or whatever, not necessarily fixing facilities. So it's a real conundrum there to figure out where this money's gonna come from and this debt service. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. All right, thank you, Sean. Anybody have any questions for Sean?
You've done enough today.
Y'all, I'm not, I don't want this to be on.
Thank you for the reports. They were very good. Yeah.
We appreciate it. All right, no old business, new business, executive session.
All right, I think I want to bring up new business.
Let's go.
While we're here officially doing something.
Let's
I
do
want
it.
I want the commission to advise or recommend to the city that we have a uniform security presence when there are major events going on and when we expect to have this problem. Since we got a pretty good idea on when it's gonna happen, you can call any of these security guards that are working, all the plants and businesses around here don't have their own security. They're all farmed out. So I'm sure there's an 800 number somewhere we can call and get a guy done wears yellow vest. Get a couple of them, they swap out, and all you gotta do is say, you can't park here, and they'll go park somewhere else. And that's not a solution to the problem. That's a short-term fix to help for the next 4th of July weekend, all that. So I'd like to make that motion that we do that.
All right,
Now I'll have to say it again so you can write it down.
not me. You get a second?
A second motion.
Okay, discussion. I think it needs to be done in concert. I'm in favor of what you're talking about, but it needs to be done in concert with some coordination with the city as to what we can do. I mean, you say uniform, do we want to use a policeman? Have a policeman down there. I don't know what the best approach is, whether you do a rent-a-cop or you hire a policeman. And that can be open-ended, I guess, in the way you phrase your motion. If you're gonna have a uniform officer, does he have the power of arrest? Or do you gotta call the Bay PD? And I don't know, you probably know more about that than any others, so, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the business owners that they have over here, the restaurants and stuff like that, should pay for the additional cleanup and security that requires, because that's where it's all coming from.
But if we stop people from parking there, so we're taking that away from them, so I don't think you're gonna get them to pay for it.
Because the marina's adding actually to them, because the people that come in
no
to the
doubt.
marina, they're the ones that are spending money here.
Right.
You know, they bring their boat in for 2 days or whatever, or they come down to their boat. Just like Dale said, he spent $1,500 on the weekend over here. Every time he comes down, they live in Covington or whatever they come, and they bring in people, and they all spending money. You know, you go out to eat, you can dump a couple $100 over here to go out and eat. It's not cheap to eat it. You know, I mean, to do that, you have a couple of drinks and that, you can drop a couple $100.
Well, there's two parts, is what I'm hearing. One is security and one is cleanup. Can we separate the two? Where we have a motion about security.
Well-
And then turn around and if we want to attempt to do something,
May I interject?
yeah.
I can assure you that things are clean.
Yeah.
I can promise you.
This is a clean.
Because my guys every single morning go out and spend
The
an
seawall
hour
steps?
cleaning glass off the seawall.
Okay,
I mean,
I've seen it at the wrong time then. But I've
It-
seen broken bottles and.
yeah, I mean,
in the
I
middle
can't
of the day.
guarantee you right now there's not a broken bottle down there
Yeah.
on the seawall. But we do our best to pick it up when we see it.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, from our vantage point, sometimes it's hard to see what's on the second step of the seawall as you're walking up there. But I can assure you, if there's trash in the harbor or in our flower beds, it may not be every time that there is something on the seawall, but I can guarantee you somebody's picking it up, because that is my pet peeve. So cleanup wise, we're doing it. And it is a step that we take, and most of it does come not from the boat owners, but from general public who is in the harbor. Now, as far as the 52 parking places for boat owners down on the south end, I'm gonna do what we did Sunday. I will post one of my staff members down there sitting in the golf cart, and we will make sure that it's not, that there's no one coming in there.
All right, let me just interrupt you, because we have a motion about uniform security being on the property, on these event weekends. All right, so my question is, while we're discussing this, is uniform security what is gonna work? Or are you saying that I'll have a harbor employee there doing it in lieu of uniform security?
I can do that.
Okay, now you,
Which one is better for the harbor? Would you rather have someone else come in?
I need
Your
one of my
guys,
harbor
staff?
guys down there who recognizes who should be there and who shouldn't.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because there are times when someone didn't take the parking pass off of car A when they left and they came in car B. And someone needs to be down there who recognizes and knows this individual is telling me they're supposed to be in 242, and I know they're supposed to be in 242. The security officer is not going to have that ability.
okay, is this a 24-hour? You looking for 24-hour security? Like the gentleman's talking about, people coming in 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, falling asleep in their cars. You know, we're gonna secure the area 24 hours a day for 3 days, 4 days. but that's, again, I think to tighten up or clarify
Yeah.
what you're suggesting here. It
So let
can-
me ask you a question. Why is it designated just 52 rather than more spots, or even Old Marina for the?
That's what
parking?
city council decided.
That's what they want,
Mm.
to do that?
Yeah.
So because they don't want to say, well, they want the other people that go to the restaurants and all, be able to park in there
Right,
for additional parking, huh?
right.
That was brought before city council. That's what was approved, those 52.
Yeah, because I mean, like I was saying, I've seen a lot of changes over the past 10 years over here, and then, I mean, the marina's full, and they need the additional parking, everything needs to be changed in
Well,
order to make it work. That's what I was saying, like Henry said, the simplest thing would be put a gate when they come in, boom, it blocks it. You know, that'd cut out probably 80%, somebody get around the gate, you know? But,
That was proposed, and I was not able to get it through.
no.
Well, and again, that doesn't mean we won't do it again.
I mean, that would be the simple thing, it'd keep out vandalism, and, I mean, people stealing stuff
Mhm.
out of there, and,
Well, you have control. What I was, and didn't want to commit to anything, I'm trying to get some facts, and I'm waiting on a resource to tell me what the recommended parking spaces are for marinas. If you got a 200 slip marina, what's the more ratio of parking spaces?
I can tell you this, parking's not a problem in Gulfport.
yeah, but they don't have any, you know what, why?
There's no shore side.
Because they don't have any restaurants across the
Yeah.
street that they go into.
I agree.
You know,
But
it's
they
spread
also
out
have,
around
they
the
also
back.
have, they also have more parking, and each parking slip has essentially, you park here, we're towing you,
Yeah,
without
got-
the proper
yeah,
identification.
permit
Yeah,
only.
that's
And
good
this is,
idea.
and this is the first time that I've been told that I could tow cars. The other time it happened, I got in trouble for it.
I didn't hear that today. But,
No,
so I think my thing is,
So
to
anyway,
answer your question, of having a harbor guy there, that makes sense. But on the other hand, if you've got harbor guys there 24/7, y'all have radios or cell phones. I mean, this guy, if he's got a question, he can call. I'm trying to get a resource that'll be there so that we don't have upset leaseholders, you know, for these major events. And I think
And
that
I
would
don't-
be
I
a way
don't-
to dedicate that without taking somebody, because you get, like I said, you got 4 boats waiting in line for fuel. You don't want to pull somebody off of that to go
well,
watch.
the first thing, you said, it's been said, we need to secure the 52 we have.
Yes.
And if having a gate is, one, you don't have to hire anybody from overtime, that gate's working 24/7. You know, I'm not, you know, yeah, somebody might try to finagle something, whatever, but that's just part of the deal. But if you got that gate 24/7, they're not coming in there.
well, I
Very
will
often.
tell you, 2 years ago, I had a gentleman come over from Louisiana, gave me a quote on a swing arm gate
Right.
that has an RF receiver at the top of it. All I'd have to do is put a 1-inch by 1-inch tag on the front of your windshield, and as you pull around to it, it automatically opens up, and then it automatically shuts. There's no keypads, there's no nothing. It's an RF receiver that does it when you pull up to it, with that tag on your windshield.
How much was it? Well, I'm not.
It was $10,000.
It doesn't matter how much it was then, because it's how much it is today.
Right.
Why don't you find
It was
out?
$10,000, and I presented it, and it got shot down.
Why don't you find out
Yeah,
if you
get that
would,
quote
please,
updated.
how much it would cost to have the gate? And then, 'cause to me, it has to be positioned. Look, we got 52 parking spaces, we got a 200 slip marina. According to these sources, we should have 100 parking spaces. Not every day, but, you know, to accommodate the average flow or whatever, and give them facts. And this is all we're asking for, and rather than having somebody there 24/7 for 3 days, it'd be cheaper and more effective to have this.
The gate.
The
In,
gate.
in the long run, it would.
The thing about it is, it's busy here every day in Bay St. Louis. To put along the parking and that, I mean, you can look and see, man, they going from the
Oh, yeah.
school over there, almost almost to the bridge. That's like daily, especially in the summer.
Right.
So you can't say, well, it's just on the weekend. It's not that way anymore. It's like that every day.
Well, here's my thought on it. If I could get the okay to do it, I guarantee you could have a fundraiser in the harbor and all the boat owners would come together and pitch in and probably buy
Pay
it.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that, but get your facts together
Give us a quote.
and we'll.
I still got the paperwork. I'll call this gentleman back, tell him to come give me another
And
quote.
I'll work on getting some statistics and putting all these comments together, so when it's presented to the harbor, I'll be glad to present it.
Yeah, in the long run, it'd be cheaper
Yeah.
than having a guy, a
And-
security guy.
and
Oh,
you'll-
absolutely. I'm just trying to find something quick.
Sure
Yeah,
would.
and I'll talk to.
I'm gonna take care of the quick end, I
I
promise.
gotta have the mayor has to buy into it. So, once we get all our facts, then what I suggest, let's see, this is May, 4th of July.
4th of July's on a Wednesday though, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think from a timing
Good thing about the
standpoint.
gate, if we pick up another 25 spots, you can just move the gate further back,
Why don't you do this, Tommy?
you know?
Why don't you, withdraw that motion?
I will withdraw that.
And and make a motion, that the harbor master is going to, get the cost of installing a gate, for the access to the current designated slip holders parking lot. And that, once we have that price, it'll be submitted to the city council, for their approval. Does that sound like something you'd say?
That sounds exactly like I'd say it that way. Did you write that down?
Yeah, I do.
I second that motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Nah.
Okay, so now, when you get the price, we can get the plan together to go to the city council. The mayor, the city council, and get it positioned to where we hopefully can sell it. I'd also.
That's only 4 months. If you had 100 spots that you had reserved there, $25 a month added on somebody's bill even. In 4 months, it's paid for.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it'll be a problem.
2,500 a month, 10,000 for the gate. It's done, you know?
Yeah, and
We can sell jambalaya plates out there and make that money.
Huh?
We can sell jambalaya plates out there and make that money.
No, any other business?
I have no other, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right. Second?
Yeah.
All in favor? All right, thank you, Sean.
I'm already in hot water, so this has been fun, guys.
It seems like you ought to be used to it by now.
Well, you invited your family and friends here.
Okay.